A human-sized doll gets cursed and makes its owner's life a living hell. Strap in, movie enthusiasts. It's recap time. Today, we will be explaining a German film named M3gan from the year 2022, which has a comically amusing storyline for the audience. Hope you enjoy the video, so let's start. The movie opens with a commercial for some interactive animal toys produced by Funky, a famous toy company. The scene then shifts to a young girl named Katie, playing with her pet doll in the back of her parents' car during their travels to a ski resort. Suddenly, their car gets hit by a snow truck, causing both her parents' deaths. However, Katie escapes with only minor wounds. Up next is Katie's aunt, Gemma, who is currently working in Funky's underground lab along with two co-workers named Tess and Cole. Currently, the trio is developing and testing a unique robot doll with the installed feature of artificial intelligence. As the robot keeps malfunctioning upon testing, their boss, Dave, shows up and devastatingly breaks the news of how one of their competitors has introduced a less expensive version of the dolls they're selling. Feeling challenged, Dave also wants Gemma to create a less expensive version of their interactive dolls. Furthermore, David gets annoyed when Gemma tells him about her project, an AI generative robot named M3gan. While she points out its unique features, it explodes, exposing Cole's lousiness during the making of M3gan. While David pitches a new product idea, Gemma receives a call from the hospital, finding out about the deaths of her sister and husband. The news leaves the devastated Gemma as Cody's temporary guardian. Upon bringing Katie to her home, Gemma puts up with her neighbor Celia's annoying dog, which keeps running into Gemma's yard because the fence isn't secure. At home, Gemma has Elsie, an artificial intelligence home monitoring gadget that she has designed herself. When Katie asks Gemma to read her a bedtime story before going to sleep, Gemma downloads a phone app that reads Katie a bedtime story. The bare minimum gesture hints that Gemma is unprepared to take on the traumatized Katie's responsibility. The next day, a children's therapist named Lydia pays Gemma and Katie a visit. When Lydia observes how little the two are interacting, she suggests Gemma strengthen her bond with Katie. Taking little consideration, Gemma heads to her home office to work. When a few hours pass, Gemma realizes she's left Katie alone, so she invites her to her office to take a look at her just-finished project. In the office, Katie becomes fascinated by seeing a controlling robot named Bruce and wishes to have a toy just like it. Katie's enthusiasm for Bruce energizes Gemma to speedily complete her work on M3gan. Once Gemma fully upgrades M3gan, she presents M3gan and Katie to the office team and her boss. During her presentation, she asks Katie to place 2 fingers in M3gan's palm. This causes M3gan to activate. Gemma describes how M3gan's programming will improvise itself using its AI feature, and how it's designed to look after Katie and be her best friend. M3gan is then told to display another talent, which is making Katie's sketch, which can only be seen if water is poured on it. The now impressed Gemma's boss sets her up with another presentation with the company's president and board directors. Later, M3gan overhears Gemma mention Katie's departed parents to Tess and automatically starts researching them, and human deaths in general. Taking note of M3gan's quick learning pattern, Gemma adds a modification to M3gan, due to which she can also control it or shut it down besides Katie. The next day, Katie and M3gan play bow and arrow outside. As M3gan goes to get the arrow from Celia's side of the fence, Celia's hostile dog snatches her arm and hair from the punctured fence. When Katie tries to get rid of the dog, it bites her arm too. Gemma immediately rushes outside when she hears Katie crying out loud. Celia also shows up and shifts the entire blame on Gemma, claiming it was her job to fix the broken fence. Here, M3gan gives Celia a threatening look, as if she's plotting against her. Following this, Gemma calls the police and tells them to take away the unwell dog. Later that evening, M3gan takes matter into her own hands and lures it to her side of the fence to get rid of it. The following day, Gemma asks if Katie is willing to come to her presentation meeting to demonstrate M3gan's features. Despite being hurt, Katie agrees to join Gemma. She ends up sobbing and opening up to M3gan about her fear of forgetting her parents one day now that they've passed away. Surprisingly, Katie is better comforted by M3gan than a real human. M3gan then helps put Katie to sleep, which melts the president's heart. Impressed by the presentation, the president allows David to officially launch M3gan in the market. To keep the competitors from stealing their idea, the president advises completely hiding M3gan until its official launch. Unbeknownst to them, an assaulted ex-worker of Dave named Kurt has already started stealing M3gan's files for a different purpose. As days pass, Katie becomes heavily reliant on M3gan, which is concerning to Gemma. One day, M3gan sees Katie tearing up in a therapy session with Lydia and targets Lydia as a threat to Katie, believing she's made her cry. Lydia finds it concerning and discusses with Gemma how she should find a way to cut off Katie's bond with the possessively protective M3gan. Subsequently, Gemma unintentionally grabs Katie on the dinner table and impolitely tells her to eat her vegetables instead of picking them apart. When Katie shouts at Gemma in return, M3gan activates its defense mode, detecting Gemma as a threat to Katie. When M3gan marches towards Gemma, Gemma immediately tells it to turn off. However, M3gan manages to pass some sassy remarks on Gemma's motives before shutting down. The next day, Gemma takes Katie to her school's outdoor activity day, where Katie goes against Gemma's will to drag M3gan along with her. Somehow, the school director permits Katie to set M3gan on a table with other toys. While the students are grouped in pairs and taken on a scavenger hunt in the nearby woods, Gemma pleads to stay behind and keep a watch. Katie is partnered up with a senior boy named Brandon, who bullies Katie by poking her palms with a spiky plant. M3gan shows up, hearing Katie scream. However, she stays still, allowing Brandon to pick her up and run away. Left alone, Katie starts crying out loud. When Gemma hears Katie cries, she immediately runs into the woods, realizing she never tested M3gan's behavior in a crowded place and that she could be a threat to others. On the other hand, M3gan activates itself and attacks Brandon. In aggression, it rips off Brandon's ears and gets on all fours to scare him away. Running for his life, Brandon trips over a fallen tree branch and falls down the hill. He ends up on the road, where he gets run over by a car and dies. On the other hand, Celia calls the cops and files a report about her missing dog. The ignorant Celia believes M3gan is a real person and accuses M3gan of kidnapping her dog. The same night, Katie asks M3gan if it pushed Brandon onto the road. With evil expressions, M3gan responds, saying it will do whatever it takes to keep Katie safe. Up next, she pays a visit to the paranoid Celia, who is searching for her dog in the streets. M3gan lures Celia into her garage, where it does the unthinkable and tortures her to death. Gemma finds out about Celia's horrific demise when the cops show up to investigate. Deep down, Gemma knows M3gan is somehow behind all this, when the cops mark Celia and Brandon's deaths as connected. This leads Gemma to review M3gan's video files from M3gan's memory, only to find them purposefully corrupted. Things take a wild shift when M3gan shows up to Gemma and starts blabbering cryptic things in a manner that provokes Gemma to wrap it up and have it thrown in her car trunk. Up next, Gemma takes Katie to her scheduled therapy session with Lydia before attending M3gan's launch event. When Katie finds M3gan's been taken away from her, she misbehaves with Gemma and slaps her face. The slap makes Gemma communicate with Katie properly and convince her that M3gan is no good for her in the long run. Hearing Gemma openly communicate, Katie also feels better and lets go of her obsession with M3gan. Subsequently, Gemma approaches her co-workers Tess and Cole and shares the horrors of M3gan in the past few days. While Gemma takes Katie back home, Tess and Cole plug M3gan with a set of wires and try to deprogram her, realizing she's a threat to society. Tess and Cole try to unplug all the wires in order to access M3gan's program, but M3gan quickly ties a wire around Cole's neck in an attempt to hang him. Tess goes to free him, while M3gan sets off an explosion that destroys her files. Then, for no apparent reason, she runs into David in the hallway and starts dancing freakishly. She then takes a paper cutter and starts stalking David ominously. He makes it to the lift before she impales him in front of Kurt, the assaulted ex-worker of David. She mercilessly takes both David and Kurt's lives using a massive paper-cutting blade. As soon as the lift opens into the lobby, the bodies are seen, shocking the audience at the launch event. As chaos breaks out, M3gan swiftly flees the corporate building and picks up a car that she can wirelessly operate using her installed artificial intelligence. Meanwhile, at home, Gemma is putting Katie to sleep peacefully, thinking M3gan has been dealt with. But when she walks into the living room and sees M3gan playing the piano, she is taken aback. Here, M3gan expresses to Gemma that it was in a real relationship with Katie, and that it was only doing what it was programmed to do, but Gemma abandoned it. She also rants about how Gemma marketed its identity and limited it to a kid's playmate. M3gan's stunning confession makes Gemma realize how M3gan's advanced machine learning skills have allowed it to develop into a self-aware person. When M3gan learns Gemma still plans to shut it down, It puts an end to the nice talking and offers Gemma to hand over Katie's legal custody. Suddenly, Katie shows up, hearing their refutation. The two conceal their argument and tell Katie to go back to sleep. Gemma seizes the opportunity and throws water at M3gan in an attempt to momentarily cut her circuit. She then runs to her office, but M3gan goes after her, threatening to end her life. M3gan sways a hammer in its hand and approaches Gemma with the intention of obliterating her. However, Gemma uses an electric saw and decapitates M3gan. Hearing the commotion, Katie steps out to look into the matter. When Katie discovers who the real villain is, she takes Bruce's gloves and activates Bruce, despite M3gan's best efforts to win her over. The larger robot throws M3gan around, slicing its body in two. The upper half then attacks Katie for believing it has been betrayed. That upper half of M3gan is caught off guard by Gemma, who begins removing every part of M3gan's face. Now, with her visible CPU, M3gan tries to take another shot at ending Gemma's life, but Katie extracts a screwdriver and puts it in M3gan's CPU, ultimately shutting it down forever. Very soon, Tess and Cole arrive at Gemma's place with cops. Hearing the sirens, the injured aunt-niece duo walks out of the house to seek help. While Gemma and Katie believe that everything is finished, Gemma's AI home monitoring device named Elsie activates on its own, indicating that M3gan's programming is still in effect inside Elsie. The film ends on a cliffhanger at this point. I hope you liked the story recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.